Did you know that GoPro is lying to you about the 60 FPS output from the HDMI port on GoPro 7, GoPro 8, GoPro 9? Or are they really? There are really only two types of GoPro users. On one side, you have people that use it regularly for streaming through HDMI on the media mod, and they're satisfied with it. It says 1080p 60, it's good. And then on the other side, you have people that really looked into their footage and they realized that it's actually 30 FPS. They never had 60 FPS through HDMI, even though GoPro has advertised that it's outputting 60 through HDMI. If you don't believe me, go and watch frame by frame all your footage that you streamed with the GoPro through HDMI, and you're gonna see it is just duplicated 30 FPS, and it is lying to your interface or to your encoder about its actual frame rate. But luckily, I found a nice trick that enables 60 FPS on almost all the GoPros. Let me show you how to do it. If you're not too familiar with streaming with the GoPro, you should definitely check out my guide on setting it up and getting the best settings for streaming through HDMI. Before we begin though, make sure to set the profile to 1080p 60. Right, so you just got to the part where you're about to plug in the HDMI cable into the GoPro. Okay, so you want to plug in a micro HDMI. Now the screen goes black, that's normal. And if you watch the video, now you'll know that you have to use the trick to get rid of the overlay that you're getting from the battery and the SD card by clicking the button on the side 4 times and then clicking the record button to select the clean HDMI output. Now you might think you're ready for streaming, and really you are. You get 1080p 30, but we're aiming for 60 FPS. Now GoPro is going to say, oh, but I'm outputting 60. No, you're not. It's 30. It always says it's outputting 60. For example, if you look into what it says on your encoder, what is coming in through HDMI. Luckily, one of our community members found the solution on how to get 60 FPS and proved that GoPro, the company, did not technically lie about having 60 FPS through HDMI on all the cameras. And that is to click the record button one more time. What that does is starts the recording on your GoPro. And once you start recording, HDMI switches from 30 to 60 FPS, and that's basically the only change. You still get all the features from stabilization to all the other settings that you've set up. Isn't that crazy? You're recording, and only then it switches to 60 FPS, and the image is basically the same. Now, there's some obvious downsides that probably pop to your mind when you're recording while streaming. Well, what happens is your SD card is going to get filled up at some point, depending on how big it is. 128 gigabyte is probably going to get filled up in 5 hours. Before you start streaming, you should definitely clear your SD card, which is an idiotic thing to say, but it is what it is. And if you have a smaller SD card, you can always swap back to 30 FPS once your SD card is full. You can even delete the file on the fly while you're streaming and put 60 FPS back on, but I don't know, is it worth it or not? Depends on how long your stream is. And I would say an even bigger issue is the fact that you're recording and streaming, meaning much more heat on the GoPro, which it's already overheating from just doing HDMI, so you're not giving it an easy time by enabling recording on top of that. What I recommend is you do a few test streams, see how long your GoPro can last while it's recording and streaming at the same time. And if it doesn't last for more than like 2 to 3 hours, I would definitely just use 1080p 30 then. I've managed to get pretty long 60 FPS 1080p streams with 0 issues, so it's definitely possible, but I guess it also depends on the GoPro lottery when you bought yours. Guys, let me know if this solution worked for you, especially if you're using a GoPro 9 or GoPro 10. I don't think this necessarily works on a GoPro 7. I had someone try it, but maybe you can try it too, and let me know in the comments below. I'll catch you in the next one.